Let us begin. First, I'm going to flatten out both sides of the pieces of wood. Well, just one side of both pieces of wood, so that way I can glue better, because that's important. Here I'm just cleaning it off, so that way I can prep it for the glue joint, so that way it doesn't come apart, it doesn't shatter, hit you in the face, and all that good jazz. It's not actually that good. And then clamp it. Lots and lots and lots of clamps. Just use them. Let that dry and unclamp it. Next, I just cut out a template. I only cut out half so that way I could fold it over and it would be the same on both sides. Although I did end up thinning down the handle quite a bit because it looks pretty ridiculous as is. And now I just cut it out on the bandsaw. If you don't have a bandsaw, anything will work, really. Here I'm using my belt sander. You can also use files or sandpaper or something along that lines. But really I'm just profiling it, smoothing out all the rough edges, and making it comfortable to hold. And you'll see why I'm drilling these holes pretty soon. Size doesn't matter, just make sure a bolt can fit through them. And I just so happen to have some carbon fiber laying around. If you don't happen to have any carbon fiber, you can probably use titanium or Kevlar. However, I had the carbon fiber, so that's what I'm going to use. Just cut out two little stubs. You'll see what these are being used for soon. And now I'm just drilling the same size holes through the carbon fiber as well, so that the bolt can go through those as well. And now I'm just attaching the carbon fiber to the slingshot itself, using the bolts so I can profile it. And that's what it looks like right now. And here I am shaping. Make sure to definitely, if you use, well, really anything, wear a mask. My arms were itching forever after this because of carbon fiber, just a pain. Here I'm using the side little disc part to make little notches, as you can see there. And this will just allow the carbon fiber to sit more flush with the slingshot itself. And this is the carbon fiber all profiled out with the bolts through them in their little notches and stuff. So that's what that looks like now. And here I'm just doing kind of a test fit. You can see I cut little notches in the wood and the carbon fiber so that way it holds the bands better. So far I've been using this for about a week now and the bands have been held in great. I did make new bands because these were too small. I made them a little bit longer and a little bit wider and it shoots great. See, so now the bands are secured in there. And now I'm just going in with a finer grit belt and sanding everything over again, kind of smoothing everything out, making it more comfortable. And then I will be going over it with steel wool, as you can see. Just really smoothing everything out, getting rid of any burrs or anything like that. Getting it really nice and smooth and easy to hold. And then for the finish, I used, it's called Feed and Wax. I got it at Home Depot. That stuff right there. It's pretty great. It's just like wax, and I think there's like an alcohol in it or whatever. It works pretty good for me. And I just squirted it onto a rag and then wiped the Slingshot over for a couple minutes, just kind of get everything kind of soaked in. And then I wrapped the rag around the Slingshot and let that dry for another 20 or so minutes. Just let that sit to dry. And here I'm using a really dull knife to cut leather. If you don't have a really dull knife, you know, I'm sure you'll get fine with a decently sharp knife, but I just like a struggle. I ended up not using this band set. The bands were too short. Couldn't really pull it back very far. Couldn't really aim it. Basically, just put the rubber or the bands through the holes. Make sure they're even, and then tie them off. Really doesn't really matter what knot you use. Just make sure it's tight. Here I'm just using some woven fishing line to tie it. It has like a 30-pound test, so I mean it's plenty strong. And here is the final assembly, well, final for the video anyway, of me putting on the bands and locking everything into place. I only showed half here because it's just the exact same on both sides. Just line it up and tighten the bolt down. I recommend finding some small washers to put behind the nut in between the wood, because it kind of sinks in and I don't know how long that'll last. And here I'm just cutting off the excess from the bolts. Probably not the best way to do this, but it works.